Hello and welcome to the Geek Remix Podcast, episode 16.
Yeah, I think it's 16.
Okay, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Mari. First up on gaming news this week, Eidos Montreal, I don't know how to pronounce it. I mess up everything. Has fired like 20-something staff members after the release of Thief, which just came out, and we're doing a Let's Play on the channel.
Yeah, is that because of that laggy opening scene?
No, I mean, most companies actually fire a lot of people right after.
Because they're like, people hate it, go away.
No. Like, most of the time it's not even has anything to do with how well the game does. They just fired a bunch of people because there's, like, not very much job security in the video game development world because there's so many people who are like, I want to work in video games. So it's, like, a really competitive market, and they can just... People are so desperate that they'll take any job under any circumstance. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did they fire all of them or did some of them leave? Because I could totally see some of them being like, okay, this is my pet project and I want to see it to the end, but I really don't like this company, so after it's done, I'm leaving.
Oh, no, these weren't like major players. These were like mid-level people.
Got it.
So, and like most of the time, like for major developing companies, it's like you can't, if you're allowed to have a pet project, that means you can't leave and you have a signed deal because you as a person drive in the audience. Like, let's say the creator of Sims, I forget his name, creator of The Sims, which is super popular. That was actually his pet project, which he had gotten because he had promised another series to the publishing company.
Yeah.
And then they let him have it. So, yeah, that kind of really sucks, you know? But it's just something that happens all the time in the industry.
Yeah.
And you know what? It really sucks because you feel so bad when a game isn't perfect when it releases because you know a bunch of people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, like I know.
Yeah. But Stacy, you're really loving Thief, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I don't know. Remember how we've talked about how I just love, like, remember when you were asking me about, like, the color palette of a game and what I find appealing? I love that it has, like, the dark color palette, but that it's also very sharp.
Yeah, crisp.
Yeah, exactly. And just everything, I don't know, everything about the mood of that game I really like. Okay, so another person who is stepping down / getting fired is basically the U.S. boss of Sony.
And
like for PlayStation.
Is he getting fired? Is he stepping down?
So they did the political thing where they're like, our decision not to renew his contract is a mutual decision.
Oh, so he got fired.
He got fired, but I don't know. Here's the thing is that, like, PlayStation is doing really well right now. So I don't know, like, if there was a big issue that we just don't know about and that's why they would fire him, or if but like one of the other things that I was reading about is that the person that they're going to bring in, so the guy that's getting fired was more focused on, like, working with retailers and, like, selling, like, the physical games and hardware, whereas the guy that they're going to be bringing in has spent the last few years establishing Sony's presence in digital distribution of games, as well as movies, television, and music. So the impression that I get is that this is kind of like, it's not a, you did something wrong, we're firing you. It's a, we have an eye for the future, and we don't think that you do.
So is this Sony PlayStation of America or just Sony?
Sony.
Ah, okay. Because Sony has a bigger presence than just the games, but the games is like actually still a really big part of it.
Yeah, no, this is Sony, like, let's see. I am not, it might be just the gaming. It's a really, it says Sony Computer Entertainment of America, President and Chief Executive.
That's such a complicated.
Right?
Well,
Like, what the fuck? Can you just tell me like what he does?
Video games or not, just say it.
I know, exactly. But it's the Sony Network Entertainment Internet. Ugh.
Well, I'll say this. I think digital distribution is pretty cool. However, with the PS4, the downloads for the games are like 20 to 30 to 40 gigs. And I don't have time for that. I don't. Yeah. Like, that's like 2 days for me. Like,
well, but I think hopefully if they're bringing in somebody who's like to run the ship, like where that's their expertise, then maybe that would get better and they can offer more products and services. Because if that's like what they're going to focus on, as opposed to focus on purely like selling hardware, then they might start like developing like the digital download.
Well, they do develop video games. Actually, they develop a lot of video games. It's just that. I know that you know. I was talking to the listeners.
Got it.
It's just. Yeah, digital distribution is the future. It's just that, like, I don't know in my head, because I'm an idiot, how that's really going to work with the file sizes of digital media getting so gigantic. Like, I know that fiber optic cables and stuff are coming, but that's going to take a really long time to actually happen. So.
I suppose, but I mean... Just look at the advances that there have been in like mobile technology in the past 10, like even 5 years.
Yeah, you're right.
So this stuff I feel like moves a lot faster than we realize, especially because a lot of this stuff is being developed, and it's not like they sing about, you know, oh, we're developing this, it'll be available in 5 years. Like they don't talk about that type of stuff because they want it to be developed before they unveil it. So I like having done like social media for like an aspect of like the tech industry for, you know, the past year. It's like nothing really surprises me anymore about like what people say they can do, because I feel like every time you turn around, like somebody is announcing some product where I'm like, wow, I wouldn't have even imagined that, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't have even thought to myself, like, hey, that'd be cool, because my imagination just, like, doesn't go there.
Yeah.
And then, like, they come out with something and you're like, wow, I never knew how I could live without this. Like, do you remember when smartphones first came out?
Yeah.
And, like, your mind literally exploded?
Everyone was, like, calling it the Jesus phone, and now we look back and we're like, that's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, wow, like those like really were not that great. It was just so different that, you know, people were just completely blown away by it. Imagine, you know, we've talked about the whole virtual reality thing, like the Oculus Rift and stuff. Like imagine where, you know, where that's going to be in 10 years. Mm-hmm. So, but speaking of things that I never would have imagined possible, that article that I sent you about like, fashion, like wearables. So wearables are like, you know, basically personal electronic devices that like masquerade as regular objects, like a ring or like a bracelet. There's tons, there's tons of these things available, and like some of them, you know, like they monitor your fitness, and other stuff it's like blood pressure. Other stuff it's like, it's so that, you know, it could be like an emergency tag or like a GPS, like whatever have you. So, and in that fashion, they've also come out with this clothing that it uses a conductive nylon ribbons, and like batteries are clasps or buttons. And so it can display like, are you hearing this right now?
Yeah, I am. Like, what is going on?
I don't know. Somebody's being an asshole outside.
We can wait. Don't worry. Okay, continue.
There's like people screaming at each other outside. What are these people doing?
Tell them to shut the fuck up.
Seriously.
No, open your window. Shut up!
Shut up! I got shit to do!
I have an internet podcast!
Okay, so anyways, using conductive nylon ribbons and disguising batteries as clasps or buttons, they've created a line of clothing that's able to change colors or even show video games that you are playing on your mobile device.
Okay, it's on your what?
On your clothes.
Oh, okay.
So I could be wearing like a shirt or a skirt and like walking around, and it would show the video game that I'm playing on me.
Oh, so it's like when you are listening to your music and you want everyone to know how cool you are, so you put your music really loud.
Yeah, so you don't use headphones and you disturb everybody around you, except that it wouldn't have sound. It would be kind of like, you know, like the advertisement boards that like,
yeah,
in cities they'll show them where they have where like there are actual video screens and the ads can like react to what's going on around them. Mm-hmm. There was like a really cool ad board like that in a train station in, I forget what country, but it was advertising hair products. And so it would show a woman, and when the train would come into the station, like her hair would blow all over the place.
Oh.
Like in time with the train.
Wait, do you have headphones on, Stacey?
What?
Do you have headphones on?
No.
Can you put them on? I can hear myself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Anyways.
Sorry.
It's okay. That's why I asked you if it was okay earlier.
Oh, because like sometimes I can hear it and sometimes I can't. So then it gets in the recording.
Got it. All right. So provided there are no other interruptions, I think we should be good.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So that is something that I never would have like imagined and thought to myself like, hey, I want clothing that shows a video game.
Well, I'm trying, it seems cool, but I would feel like I would be trying to get everyone else to see what I'm doing. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like,
I don't think this is something that you would just wear if you're a normal person, like walking around like in everyday life. I think that this is the type of thing that, say if you were at like a convention and you made a really cool game, like this would be a great like way to showcase the game. Like you could have people like walk around the convention showing the game on their clothes as opposed to depending on people to come to your booth to see it.
There actually is a guy who makes clothes that are like for people with iPads for their like Halloween costumes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can program your iPad and then put the iPad within the costume, so like different things are happening. So he has one where like you're wearing the costume and then you put your iPhone in there and it looks like your heart's beating through a rib cage.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's basically just a screen, right?
Yeah. Except that it's not hard.
So what is the screen made out of? LEDs or
conductive nylon ribbons, whatever that means. So like what?
No, I know, I'm trying to imagine it.
Yeah. So it means that the clothes look and feel normal until you use your electronic device to change the colors or create patterns. Oh, I didn't realize that you don't have to have it play a game. You can just change the colors or create patterns.
Oh.
So you could say to yourself, like, I want this, like, I want it to be like water. I want it to be like a water scene, and you could have your clothing look like water. Or like whatever it was. Like you could show like a starry sky with like meteors or a sunset.
Oh, so like
Now this sounds really cool.
Now it sounds cool instead of like, hey everybody, look at me, I'm playing like, I don't know, for some reason, as soon as you said that, I equated it to people who play their music loudly.
Without headphones on?
Without headphones on.
God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at least it doesn't have sound.
No. Like, I know that it's not the same, but the moment you said it, I was just like already mad.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, no, it's the same. It's annoying.
I think like having it show video games would be cool, like for an event.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine, like, if you...
Or if you're an indie developer and you're trying to just...
Market your game
any way you can.
That's what I was saying. Like, if you could wear the clothes to, like, a convention, you could have your game playing on the clothes, and then you could just walk around and people could ask you about it.
I feel like I'm just really anti-tech. Like, go away, tech. Get away from me. Except for when I need you. No, I just, like, every time you tell me these things, like, you have to convince me that it's cool. And I'm, like, realizing that with myself. Because you're always like, no, it's cool. I'm like, stupid. And then you're like, no, you can do all this stuff. I was like, all right. It's
okay. That's how I was when everybody suggested that I get a smartphone. I resisted that for, like, 4 years.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you're... Yeah.
Yeah, you remember... Don't you?
I was trying not to make it seem like...
Now you know who you're being like? You're being like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just sometimes, like, I'm just like, so much technology, I'm just like, all right, thank you. That's enough. Go away. It's just like sometimes where it's just... Where you're just constantly connected all the time, but sometimes I just want to be not connected. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't think, but see, like, I don't think this is the type of thing where people are saying, like, this isn't really a device in the same way that, oh, here's an app that does this, or here's an app that does that. This is just like a
cool thing.
A cool thing.
Yeah.
It's not something that you really have to program. It's not something that people are saying you need. It's just like, I get excited by technology when people like create it for the sake of creating it, as opposed to saying like, here's this thing that you suddenly need that you didn't realize you needed. Because it's like, if I was getting by okay without it, then I probably still don't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, technically, even now, like, I don't really need a smartphone.
Yes, you do. You need it. Now you need it.
Now
that you have it, you need it.
Well, I mean, like, I like playing games on it and everything, but aside from that, I just use it like a normal phone.
Yeah. Speaking of technology, this is a terrible segue. Twitch.tv just signed...
Wow, that was a great segue, Mari.
I know, amazing. So good. Twitch just signed a 3-year deal with E3 for streaming rights and stuff and coverage. And this just makes me think, oh, so they're never going to fix the Twitch chat. Ever.
See, like, I was, like, I don't know if it's just because I visit on an iPad, but I always did fine with Twitch. It was Hitbox that, like if anybody streams on Hitbox, like, I can't
Hitbox doesn't have an iPad app, and also Hitbox is still in beta. But Twitch right now has a 45-second, at least, delay for what's going on in the stream to the chat, which is kind of harmful for people who rely on chat interactions, which I find really annoying. And also, a lot of the times, people are unable to sign into chat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm sure if Hitbox started... I mean, they're still, 2 months, 5 months after beta release?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I never try to use it, I don't know.
As hosting?
No. I've never hosted on any of them, so I can't really say... I guess my opinion isn't really that valid on this one.
Yes, it is, because I know that you try to talk, and that's, just as valid as anything.
Yeah. I mean, like, I really enjoy watching people stream and, like, interacting with them through the chat, but the problem with, like Hitbox, I'm never able to view the video at all.
Is it because you're on an iPad, or?
I don't know, because you just view it through a web browser, so I don't understand why that would make a difference.
Because I'm not sure if this is still true, but, Apple, at least before Steve Jobs died, didn't have a certain type of plugin. I'm not sure why.
Because Apple is Apple, and they feel no need to bend to anybody else's rules, even if they make sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, hey, Apple, why don't you guys have this plugin that will make 90% of things work on your devices? And they're like, we're Apple, no.
One more thing. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So
don't take this personally. We have Apple products. We're just complaining about it.
Yep. I will feel free to complain about Apple anytime I get the chance.
But anyway, back to the E3 coverage. A lot of people seemed excited about that because G4 and Spike TV cover it awfully. Just, like, don't know what they're doing.
Does Spike know what they're doing with anything?
Spike TV, they know how to make dancers.
Seriously.
How much beer do you need to get bigger boobs? Get your girlfriend and start drinking beer now.
Oh my god.
It's kind of awesome.
Like, we're man TV, meaning we're going to talk down to all our male viewers and treat them like a gigantic stereotype.
It's kind of like
I feel like
bad
Spike,
it's good.
I feel like Spike TV, like, you know how people always say that things like oppress women? I feel like Spike TV oppresses men.
Yeah.
Because it treats them like they're so dumb. Like they're so stupid. And they're not.
I think it's like trying to appeal to
bros?
Not bros. I mean, appeal to the basis of you know how, like, when you turn on Mansters, you kind of start laughing because it's so stupid?
Yeah.
I think it's a little self-aware, but at the same time, it's appealing to early teen boys as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think any, like actual adult men are for real!
This is so cool!
I don't think any actual adult men actually, like, pay attention or listen to anything it says.
Attention, if you are an adult male and watch Spike TV, we would love to hear from you. Please leave your answers in the comments below about how stupid or awesome you think Spike TV is. We value your feedback.
That would be just wonderful.
So, you know South by Southwest?
The
convention type thing?
Yeah, film thing.
It's like a gigantic, like, convention with, like, tech and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
So one of the there's a Shell, you know, like the motor oil company, and like amongst other things, they're launching their latest synthetic oil, and to like promote the launch, they're doing a real life Mario Kart race.
So like Death Race 2000?
So you can get in an actual cart and drive around a course with other drivers, and the carts have like radio frequency ID technology, which is basically
Stacey, do you know what this is? This is the movie Death Race with Jason Statham.
Yes.
It is.
Is it?
Yes, it's exactly it. In Death Race with Jason Statham, the remake, they're all prisoners and they get in these death cars and they run over bonus things it senses it with their radio signals, and they unlock powers and kill each other. It's Death Race.
Nobody at South by Southwest is going to kill each other, hopefully.
That sucks. They should have some people die.
Yeah. No?
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
No.
But anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that was it. I just thought it was really fun.
That sounds
And like
awesome.
I guess like when you reach, I don't know how they'll do the whole like shells and like all that stuff, but I think it's more of the RFID stuff where like the cars can sense like where everything is on the course, and like when you pick up like bonuses and stuff like that, and like to speed up your car. I don't know.
So it speeds up your car. Is there any like, I guess, bananas or like, or I guess you could drop mines that would be centered in certain parts, and then that would slow down other people?
That's actually in the goodie bag at South by Southwest. They give out landmines.
Oh, right. So. I didn't mean actual mines. I meant like, fake, like, radio mines where if you ran over that spot, it would slow your car down.
I think that I again, like, the details are kind of minimal, but I just thought, you know, if we could dream it, they could probably do it.
Awesome.
I want to know, like,
what if they all were wearing Google Glass?
Oh.
And then they could see.
Yes, they wear Google Glass and they could see everything. Oh my God.
Yeah, so everyone's wearing Google Glass or some sort of, like, glasses with an interface.
Yeah. And
then so they can see.
Can you imagine if you were wearing Oculus Rift?
Well, then everyone would die. But yeah, I could.
Because like if they could get them all connected so that you could see everybody else, but like in Mario Kart, and you could all look like Mario Kart people, and you're just like racing around. Oh my God. How cool. Of course, cool. Yeah, people would probably die because they'd be like, oh, I'm in Mario Kart. I could go jump off this ledge. Like,
oops.
I could flip my car over, no problem.
Other news in gaming, but also movie news. They're making a live-action version of The Last of Us. And honestly, I think that's a really bad idea because...
Aren't they also making a Minecraft movie? Not a live-action one. Not live-action. It'll be like Lego. It'll be like the Lego movie.
Oh, then that makes sense. But I feel as if The Last of Us had a very powerful story, but it was only powerful within the video game because video games have that certain something. I mean, it's not... The Last of Us, the story is actually pretty generic, but it's done in a really well-made way. It's not like it's the best story ever, and it's just... It already has a movie. It's called The Game. Like, it's not... I don't know. Video games don't have to be movies.
What was the game, like the running time for that game? Like the play time?
I think it was like 30-something hours.
So how are they going to make it a movie?
Well, I guess they could just because the 30-something hours includes game time.
Yeah.
So I guess they could just condense the story of the cutscenes together and make that into the live-action script.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you don't need to make it a live-action movie because, first of all, you're going to have to get really good actors because in video games, you can control how good the actors are. So
yeah,
it's not anything.
And also, I feel like it's kind of different because do you remember like when we played Beyond Two Souls and like we had all those conversations about like what's better, a movie or a game, but like how games have the capacity to elicit more emotion from the person who's playing them than somebody who's watching a movie because you're actually like interacting with these characters and you can be more emotionally invested.
Yeah,
because
easier. It already happens.
You spend more time with them and you feel responsible for their actions and for what happens to them. Whereas in a movie, you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean that you can't be emotionally invested, but I think that there's a greater potential when you're playing a game.
It's just that stories come across differently between video games and movies.
Yeah.
It's just a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, not saying that the stories in video games are less than movies or vice versa. It's just a completely different type of medium. It's the difference between television and a picture.
Yeah. It's not one better than the other. They're just completely different.
Yeah.
So right now you're making my case for the video games art thing.
Well, I'm not saying, Stacey, I'm gonna punch you. It's not contradicting your statement at all.
No, I'm not saying you're contradicting. I'm saying that you are. That is like what I was trying to say. That they're different
I
things.
understood what you were trying to say the first time. They don't know what we're talking about because that was a private podcast.
Oh,
if you guys want to hear that private podcast, you're going to have to be a Patreon. You're just going to give us money.
Yeah. That's what I was doing. I was just promoting our Patreon.
That conversation that only makes sense with context, going to have to give us money. Thank you. Speaking of movies, this week I saw Her, which won an Oscar, right?
Yes, but I forget what it was for.
For most awkward?
I think it was like, it was the screenplay. It was for most original screenplay. Original adapted screenplay, I think.
If you guys are curious, it's like as if someone wrote a movie about Joker and Edie from Mass Effect falling in love. That's basically it.
That's a very apt analogy, except that Edie actually walks around in a body.
Well, no, Edie doesn't walk around in a body until Mass Effect 3. That's true. In Mass Effect 2, you can tell that Edie and Joker are already kind of falling in love. And that Edie having a body kind of validated Joker feeling like it's okay.
Yeah,
but you knew. I mean, because Edie was already looking at his porn before she even had a body.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, she saw it and she, had seen it. And she, she took his porn and, was playing jokes on other people with it and stuff. So, I mean, it's good. It's just, kind of a bummer movie. And it's also, I know this is going to sound really terrible, but I know for a fact that if it was a woman falling in love with a male, quotations male, OS, I would be like, I get it. But, watching this, I was, just sitting there okay, well, this is, I just, because the way I'm just going to talk about the very beginning, is that he turns it on, and there he asks him, hey, what's your relationship with your mother? And then they calculate a personality for him, which automatically from the very beginning kind of just made me feel like it wasn't ideal. But later as the movie goes on, that changes, but still that very first impression of a personality being made for him kind of made me feel like it wasn't. Because Edie, she was made and she discovered herself. You know what I mean? And in this one, it's hi, I'm perfectly made for you. And then later that totally changes, but it's that kind of just put me off. Yeah. At the very beginning, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So, and I don't see how that's an original screenplay. It's basically Joker and Edie from Mass Effect. So, clearly someone played Mass Effect and thought, oh, this is a good idea.
Mari.
It's true. It's kind of true. And it's also really touching and relatable. It's a really good movie. Don't let my jokes put you off at all. It's really good. It's just, prepare to be kind of bummed.
It's really good. Mari's just a bitch.
Yeah, it is. It's true. I also saw Ender's Game.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in the theater, actually.
Oh, that would have been way cooler.
What did you think?
I liked it. I mean, it's clearly written for kids.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, I could have been the Master General, no problem. All the revelations they were having, and I was like, come on. guys.
Yeah.
But it's written for kids, so.
I mean, I thought it was good. The one thing that I did notice was that it was evident to me that it was originally written as a book.
Because there was so much, like, you felt was missing?
And it just all, like, the pace of it is pretty quick.
Yeah, I was feeling that too, because I felt like I was missing out on a lot of character development.
Yes, exactly. It's like there's things that like they had to put in there because it's like a plot point and the rest of it wouldn't make sense without it. But that meant that there were like plot point, and less character development that happens in a book because it's a book.
Yeah, because it seemed to me like he was going through everything like within days.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And I was like, this is really like quick, huh? Like he walks in, goes into the 0G place, and 2 days later he's the captain of his own team. Like,
yeah.
I know that in the book it probably wasn't like that. And it really sucks because I knew the Thing like ever since I was in 7th grade. So yeah. That sucks. I already knew the Thing. Did you know the Thing?
Yes.
Did you?
You're talking about the End thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I guess everyone knew the End thing, huh?
Yeah. We're still not going to talk about it, though, just in case.
Okay.
But that was a thing.
That was a thing. Oh, what's the list of movies that you want to see?
Oh, like from the Oscars and whatnot?
Yeah.
So I actually do want to see her, and and like I don't know if I actually want to watch 12 Years a Slave because I know that it's supposed to be really good, but at the same time, it's like I have to be in the right place to watch some of these movies, and I just don't know if I'm ever going to get there.
Oh, because it's going to be like destroying your soul to watch it?
Yes. If anybody hasn't seen Gravity, I really enjoyed it. However, I also saw it in 3D IMAX. Actually, I don't know if I saw I saw it 3D IMAX, and it was just like it completely blew my mind. And not necessarily the I don't know.
The graphical
like the visual effects were just stunning. I mean, it won 7 Oscars, so people obviously paid attention to it. Dallas Buyers Club was really good. I saw that.
What's that about?
That's about it's back in like the 80s, I think, when like the whole AIDS HIV thing is like really gaining a lot of attention, and like the drugs that are available for HIV are like horrible and not at the correct dosage, so like they're killing people. Not necessarily like killing them, but like making it so that they get worse. And it's about this guy who develops the Dallas Buyers Club, and the Buyers Club is where, and the only reason I'm talking about this is because this is like history. This actually happened. So, but what he does is he starts selling his own like concoction of drugs to people to help them with HIV.
Oh.
And it's called the Buyers Club because he creates memberships so that because a lot of the drugs that he was selling were illegal. Oh. Or not approved, not illegal, but not approved by the FDA. So even though they weren't harmful, he wasn't allowed to sell them to other people in the US. So he created a Buyers Club, which means that he was selling memberships. And if people purchased a membership, then they were part of their monthly membership was they were given a month's worth of medication.
Dang.
And this is just like a regular guy, not a doctor.
Well, like I get that what he did was amazing, but if he was a regular guy like back then, I don't know if I would be able to trust somebody, but I guess if I was desperate enough,
They were desperate. They were dying.
Yeah.
But it's really an amazing story. And they originally, you should see the movie. Because as much explanation as I gave for it, like, Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto in that movie are fantastic.
I believe you.
They both won Oscars. It was just like, yeah. Crazy.
I believe you. Why do all the Oscar movies have to be such a bummer?
It's almost not a bummer. I mean, like, yes, that there are very sad parts of it, but like, I feel like because things are kind of better now,
it's okay. It softens the blow.
It softens the blow. But I mean, I cried during the movie.
Speaking of 12 Years a Slave, I was going to watch this movie on, I think it was Amazon Prime, and it was basically a mockumentary about, like, it was made in such a way that it was just an hour of TV programming that was as if Lincoln had lost the Civil War.
Whoa.
And I thought it was going to be really funny, but it started really, really, like, making me really sad. Like, incredibly sad.
Oh, no.
It's supposed to be funny, like, kind of funny, like, but it was so, like, real. I was like, oh my God, what if that did happen? Like,
yeah.
Because it was basically like, we're going to show the controversial documentary of, like, the early U.S. that shook our nation and blah, blah, blah. Because in this version, like, slavery was never abolished and everything. And I thought it was going to be funny, but it wasn't funny. It was just really, really sad.
Oh, my God.
It was like, but it was like showing it in such, like, this cheerful, like, it's normal way that I was like, I had to turn it off because it was so real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they tricked me. I was like, this is going to be funny. It's going to be making fun of rednecks. But I was like, no, it's not. It's too real. It's too real. And that's it for the Geek Remix Podcast. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for joining us today, everybody.
Sorry. Bye.